It all started on a night that gospel fans thought would be like any other. A grand stage, a full audience, and the kind of atmosphere where people expected great performances, but nothing out of the ordinary. But you won't believe what happened when two of the biggest names in gospel walked out together. Let me tell you, it was not just music. It felt like a moment where time stood still. The lights dimmed, the band played softly, and suddenly, Shirley Caesar, the First Lady of Gospel, stepped onto the stage. The crowd rose to their feet with cheers, claps, and shouts of joy. Her name echoed across the hall, and you could feel the respect, the history, and the weight of her decades-long career filling the room. But here's the shocking part. Before people could even sit back down, another spotlight turned on, and out came CeCe Winans. The reaction was explosive. The audience screamed. Some cried instantly, and others simply froze in their seats. This was the kind of surprise no one had expected. Imagine thousands of people realizing they were about to witness something they might never see again. Two legends, two different generations, one stage. This is where it gets interesting. People whispered, phones went up, and every single eye locked onto the stage. Everyone knew they were about to see history being made. Shirley took the microphone first. Her voice carried years of power and authority, the kind that could shake a church to its foundation. Every note was filled with raw emotion, and you could feel the depth of her journey in every word she sang. The crowd was already moved, some with tears rolling down their cheeks. And then CeCe joined in. Her voice entered like a soft wave, pure and angelic, lifting the song into a heavenly space. The contrast between them was unbelievable. Shirley was raw and traditional. CeCe was smooth and modern. But instead of clashing, their voices blended like they were meant for that exact moment. The craziest part was that it didn't feel rehearsed at all. It was like the two of them were being led by something greater than the music. The audience grew completely silent, almost holding their breath. Then Shirley reached out and held CeCe's hand, and destiny took an unexpected turn. It wasn't just about music anymore. It looked like a blessing, a moment of passing something greater. The crowd gasped. Some shouted, others just stood frozen, as if they were watching something holy happen right in front of them. This wasn't a concert anymore. It was a sacred exchange. And when their voices rose together, the entire room erupted in worship. People cried openly, hands went up, and even the musicians behind them seemed moved to tears. The sound was overwhelming, as if heaven had touched earth for a brief moment. When the final note faded, silence took over the hall. For a few seconds, no one dared to move. And then, as if on cue, the crowd exploded with standing ovations, claps, screams, and tears. But here's the thing. What happened after that applause is what truly shocked everyone and started a conversation that has not ended till today. After the applause finally calmed down, the atmosphere in the hall felt strange, almost heavy, as if something bigger had just taken place. People didn't want to leave their seats. You won't believe how the audience reacted. Instead of rushing out, they stayed, talking to each other, repeating the same lines they had just heard, and describing how their bodies were still shaking from the chills. Some were wiping tears, while others kept saying they had just witnessed a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Let me tell you, it wasn't just excitement. It was confusion, wonder, and a deep sense that something important had just happened. But here is the shocking part. Fans quickly took out their phones, posting clips and pictures all over social media. Within hours, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook were flooded with videos of Shirley Caesar holding CeCe Winans' hand tightly, whispering something into her ear. The microphones didn't catch the words clearly, and that mystery is what made people even more curious. This is where it gets interesting. Some fans believed Shirley was giving CeCe a blessing. Others claimed it looked like she was officially passing her legacy to the younger gospel star. And Then there were those who said it seemed like Shirley was emotional, maybe even saying goodbye to the stage. What makes this story different is that nobody knew the truth, and that silence left room for rumors to grow bigger and bigger. As the clips spread, the gospel community went wild. Big names in gospel music shared their reactions, saying they were in tears just watching online. Pastors started talking about the performance in their Sunday sermons, calling it a clear example of unity between generations. People said it wasn't just a performance, it was a lesson, a message that gospel is not just music, but ministry, love, and legacy. The craziest part was that even mainstream media outlets started covering the story. For a moment, gospel music broke into the headlines of platforms that usually only talk about pop stars and hip hop artists. It became bigger than just gospel, it became cultural news. And Destiny took an unexpected turn when the personal stories started to pour in. Fans began writing online about how the performance had touched their lives. One woman said she had lost her mother earlier that year, but watching Shirley and CeCe sing together made her feel like heaven was sending her comfort. Another man admitted that after watching them, he picked up the phone and called his estranged father for the first time in years. These weren't just reactions, they were transformations. This was proof that something divine had taken place that night, and people were left wondering, if this one performance could move lives like this, then what really happened on that stage? But here's the thing. Just when fans thought they had seen and heard everything, the real twist came afterward, when new details started to emerge about how this unforgettable performance came together. And that's where the controversy really began. What happened behind the scenes was even more surprising than what people saw on stage. At first, many assumed this performance had been carefully planned, rehearsed, and designed to make history. But you won't believe the truth. According to people close to the event, Shirley Caesar was originally scheduled to sing alone that night. It was supposed to be one of her classic numbers, the kind of solo that always leaves crowds on their feet. Let me tell you, CeCe Winans joining her was not part of a grand rehearsal. It was something far more unexpected. But here is the shocking part. Insiders revealed that Shirley and CeCe barely had any rehearsal time together. What the world saw was not polished or scripted. It was raw, authentic, and spiritual. This is where it gets interesting because that explains why their connection felt so real. It wasn't about choreography or perfection. It was about something unplanned that carried a power no one could fake. And what makes this story different is that both women admitted later that even they were overwhelmed by the moment. CeCe herself said in an interview that standing next to Shirley Caesar was one of the greatest honors of her life. She explained that Shirley's songs had shaped her childhood, her faith, and even her artistry. She confessed that during the performance, she was holding back tears, and when Shirley reached for her hand, she felt something heavy, something spiritual that she couldn't even put into words. Shirley, on the other hand, spoke with her usual humility. She didn't take credit for the night, but instead praised CeCe, saying that God had chosen her voice for this generation. She said she was simply grateful to see the work continue. And this is where the craziest part of the story begins. Fans believed this wasn't just a kind word. They saw it as Shirley publicly handing over the torch to CeCe. Destiny took an unexpected turn that night because for many, it felt like one queen of gospel was officially blessing another to lead the future. It wasn't just a duet anymore. It became a symbol of legacy, of old gospel meeting new gospel, of tradition uniting with modern worship. But rumors did not stop there. Some fans believe Shirley was emotional because she was hinting at stepping away from the stage, and this was her way of passing on her blessing. Others speculated that this could be the start of something much bigger, a joint project, a tribute album, or even a historic tour. The whispers spread quickly, and the gospel world could not stop talking. And here's the thing, when a story grows this big, it often carries more secrets than people realize. What came next pushed the controversy even further. After the night was over, people thought the story would slowly fade away. But you won't believe what happened next. Instead of dying down, the performance began to grow even bigger in the days that followed. Social media was still flooded with videos, but now something else was happening. Rumors of secret talks and hidden plans started to spread. Let me tell you, fans were convinced this moment was not just a one-time surprise. They believed it was the beginning of something far more powerful. But here's the shocking part. Industry insiders claim that talks had already started about a possible collaboration. Some said there were whispers of a tribute project that would honor Shirley Caesar's legacy while featuring CeCe Winans as the voice of the future. This is where it gets interesting. Other reports hinted at the idea of a tour that could bring both legends back on stage together, giving fans more of that unforgettable magic. What makes the story different is that nothing was ever confirmed. The silence only added to the speculation, and the gospel community kept buzzing with excitement and confusion. And yet, the craziest part was not about albums or tours. It was about what this moment represented. On that stage, the old and the new didn't compete. They didn't clash. They blended, showing the world that gospel music is not dying, it is evolving. Destiny took an unexpected turn that night, and people saw gospel in a way they hadn't seen in years. It wasn't just music anymore. It was a message. It was proof that gospel could bridge generations, heal divisions, and touch people who had never even considered themselves gospel listeners. Even now, fans say that performance left a mark that cannot be erased. Some believe it was Shirley Caesar's way of saying goodbye. Others think it was just the start of a new chapter with CeCe Winans carrying the flame forward. The truth may never fully come out, but one thing is certain. What happened on that stage was more than a duet. It was a moment of legacy, unity, and spirit that reminded the world of the power of gospel music. And that is why people are still talking about it today, calling it one of the most unforgettable and controversial gospel performances in history.